Friendship and shalom and greetings to you all. You know, we can control our efforts, but we can't always control outcomes. And this is something we all need to learn. We want to have control. We can be inspiring and full of hope, gently helping others arrive at truth, tackling difficult problems with serenity. We can be big-hearted, merciful, forbearing, carrying others with their strength or ours. We can be kind and helpful. And maybe we need to spend just a little bit more time working on these things. Now this week saw the 83rd anniversary of the day that will live in infamy. Well, infamy doesn't last as long as it once did, or as long as you think. There's very little mention. And each year there seems to be less, because there's less people alive who were there. And just a day earlier, of course, on Friday, December the 6th, and there's no talk about this, there was a tragic event across the world in Australia. A synagogue was firebombed. 2 were injured, and artifacts, holy books, sacred handwritten Torah scrolls were all destroyed. They will rebuild. We have always rebuilt. But when will come the day that rebuilding will no longer be necessary, because we can live as one and accept each other? Now this was anti-Semitism at its most blatant. The link between anti-Jew and anti-Israel is, now become obvious. Hatred of one is hatred of the other. Hatred of policy is now hatred of people. The Australian Prime Minister said the attack met the criteria for being declared as terrorism, but what do you hear about it? Now some believe it was connected to Australia's vote to accept the UN declaration that Israel should bring an end to unlawful presence in the occupied Palestinian territory as rapidly as possible. Now, the weight of the world seems to be on stopping Israel from protecting, defending, and securing itself. That needs to change. We also just saw the Syrian dictatorship overthrown, and if you think a democracy is about to come to fruition there, you are sorely mistaken. The fight in Syria was never about a homeland, although it is one of the oldest homes to people going back to ancient Mesopotamian days. Everyone everywhere should have freedom to choose and to self-govern. Yet that is not the case, and surprisingly or not, there's no talk about 35 or 40 million people who have been denied a homeland and state. Many in Syria, the Kurds, one of the largest ethnic groups in the world, and the largest to be denied their own homeland. Now, does anybody wonder why Turkey, Iraq, Iran, and Syria have not permitted a Kurdish country? Each of these countries controls ancient Kurdish homeland where Kurdish people still live. Iraq has 8 million, Turkey 20 million, Iran another 10 million. I really thought that would change a few years ago, because it was the Kurdish people who were the first to stop ISIS on its rampage and fight against terrorism. But instead they were branded as terrorists themselves by Turkey. Where's the UN? Where are the shouters for freedom and democracy? No one fights for 40 million displaced, but they will fight against a few million Jews. We must honor and study history, not forget it. There seems to be more now than before the danger of memory fading in time, not just for the individual or nation. Our lives are experienced stories that are woven together, impacting on each other. The memory of those experiences sends you off in new and different directions all the time. But never forget the past. It's the past that helps you move forward. Now, our thoughts change. Our feelings change. Our wants, our needs, our goals, they all change. But what never changes is we only have so much time. Well, this world is cruel with its twists and turns, but the fire's still in me, and the passion burns. Doesn't matter to which God you pray. Precious time is slipping away. Now we need to make the most of our time. We're coming up on what's been known as holiday season. Thanksgiving has always acted as the ding-ding of the bell at the boxing ring to get people rushing into Christmas time. It's that wake-up that says, I can't believe the year's almost over. And I say Christmas season, since that is what we are inundated with. But it's Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's. It's cascading cornucopia of cultural celebration. No other time of the year has the same pull on people bonding together, getting together, coming together. It's the season of light and miracles. And because we're only 2 weeks before the Twin Festivals of Light, celebration of miracles, and when I think of miracles, perhaps the one we all wish for is the one recorded in Isaiah 2:4. They shall beat their swords into plowshares, their spears into pruning hooks. Peace on earth, goodwill to man. We say it every year. There's actually a Hanukkah story connected with that. Another legend of the menorah we light during this holiday. When the Maccabees defeated the Greeks, they entered the temple and found 8 iron spears left over from the enemy. Because the menorah was gone, they took up these spears. They used them to build a makeshift lamp of celebration. They stuck candles in these spears. They kindled them. So the Maccabees used leftover weapons, most likely weapons that killed others, to build a sacred lamp. And as Isaiah says, even weapons can be beaten into tools to sow and plant. By turning their spears into vessels for light, the people signal their readiness to put aside war, begin to rebuild. That, my friends, is always a miracle. Now, Hanukkah is not just a festival of light or of miracles, but it's a festival of freedom. And it's important to remember that while at times we may need to fight for freedom, at other times we are more likely to win true freedom by becoming peacemakers. Now, interestingly, Hanukkah is not mentioned in the Tanakh, the Bible. The events of the Maccabean revolt against the Syrian Greeks, although chronicled by a near contemporary writer in the Book of Maccabees, was not included among the Kitvei HaKodesh, the holy writings. The omission is very strange, given that every other festival, including Purim, the events of which occurred only a few centuries earlier, are referred to in the context of a book of the Tanakh, the Book of Esther. What is also astonishing is that of all the early books that describe the origins of the festival, none of them refer to the miracle of the jar with sufficient pure oil to last for just one day, but which miraculously burned for 8. The story that we teach everyone is only mentioned in the much later record of the Talmud. So unlike previous festivals recorded in the Torah, or Purim is recorded in the Book of Esther, Hanukkah was not imposed at any one time by any divine authority or higher council. It actually had a long and difficult incubation period, till it finally took the form we know and love. And that explanation of it, namely the miracle of the oil, actually went out over several other explanations that were in vogue. And we'll talk about some of these other explanations in the next couple of weeks that lead up to the holiday. And of course there are famous foods and games, dreidel, the most famous game in the world, music and songs that are all associated with the holiday. It's Hanukkah. Hanukkah, a miracle time of year. A time to honor those of faith, a time to have good cheer. Candles burning ever soft to illuminate the night. For Hanukkah is also called the Festival of Light. A holiday for young and old, a holiday for all. A remembrance of increasing light in times when light is small. A time for children to play games, wherever far and wide, as the dreidel spins to remind us that great miracle happened here. It's Hanukkah, Hanukkah, time for everyone. When the few overcame the impossible odds and your rededication is done, candles burning ever soft to remind us of our right to live a life of miracles, to live our lives in light. And we do want to live our lives in light, my friends. So get ready to celebrate. As with most of the holidays, eat food that's not particularly good for you, knowing you're not alone. We'll all be doing the same, eating oily, delicious food, latkes, donuts, no kale. But we'll all be doing it, coming together to celebrate an event that is reverberated throughout time and space, because it is an event that honors freedom and light and the miracles of life. As we celebrate those things, we all come together to honor, pray, and observe as a community, because we are a collective consciousness of seekers showing faith, any and all faith, love, any and all love, because we are a fellowship, a chavura, as we express our nature of kindness, compassion, thoughts, feelings, hopes, dreams, and wishes. It unites us all in this community, house of spirit, Beth Ruach, sharing and bringing light, keeping fear at bay. And even though together, we're always individual in our approach, each connecting in his or her, their own way. So once again, go ahead, invite everybody you know, physically, digitally, psychically, emotionally, spiritually, to gather and share from Psalm 133, the Hine Matov. Hine Matov Benai Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Benai Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. How good and how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters together. Community. Together. Now we support each other in this community. So let's all spread love, goodwill, and fellowship to the world. Remember, friends, this is you setting aside just a little bit of sacred time in your own sacred space to honor and converse with whoever, whatever you happen to believe in, because we all believe in something. That's a part of your kavanah, your intention that you put out to the universe. It's your goodwill. Goodwill and intention are the roots of what you control, of what you can correct. It's your intention. It sets in motion everything that occurs in your lives. So let's take some time. Let's use that intention. Let's send some of that goodwill, some light, some healing out to everyone that needs it. Healing and renewal is for everybody. It just floats through space, finding those in need. So send it out for those you know and for the souls and spirits of everyone you love. So think of whoever that needs healing and renewal and love, or just plain goodwill. Focus on them. Call their names. It's not just for people, it's for our pets. It's for the earth. It is the healing of the world, the tikkun olam, healing of the world. It's part of our spiritual genetic makeup. And part of the healing of the world is when we send thoughts and energy for health and renewal and goodwill for everybody. They don't have to be sick. It's for those in our hearts and our minds. Let's all send energy out for the people in need everywhere. Special thoughts and prayers always for those who are in true need of assistance. We pray for those who need prayer. We don't have to know them. We want health, recovery, good life for everybody around us. And always continue to send healing energy for the hostages still held, still in prison, still languishing in the pit of despair. And we're going to read about somebody else who's in the pit of despair pretty soon. And for those closer to us. For Callie, the young star master. For Miriam and Billy. For me. For AJ, Gabby, Trevor, and Jess. For the builder. The elf. For Luke. Carson. For Dave and Sabrina. For Chris. Dolores, Marie, and Paul. For Pam. Marlo and Richard. For Lucy and Gloria and Ainura. For Alana, who I expect to see again pretty soon. For Johnny and Fern. For Kathleen. For Carla and Mina. For John and Maria, Charles, Doria, Ronnie and Connie. For Maya and Tally. For Nina and Danny. For all those suffering and in need. Let's not forget to include the familiars of our lives, all of our sacred animal friends everywhere. For everyone you know in need. For the whole world. For the bee. Friends, it is the kindness, the healing wishes, goodwill, and love we all send out. It circles the world finding those in need. So thank you, each of you, for all you do, for all you care, because the world is a world of spirit. And spirit, my friends, never dies. Makor ha-bracha Limotainu, may the source of strength bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage. Make our lives a blessing. The renewal of body. The renewal of spirit. And let us sing. Amen. Yishuberach, let us all have our spirits renewed. This is the great prayer for healing. Call upon God to heal as He has healed before. Yishuberach, may He who blessed, because all healing is a blessing. Let's all send and receive healing and renewal energy in our efforts to love, to share, to care, to grow. And this week we read, Vayishlach, and he sent. Now yes, Jacob fled because Rebekah heard Esau at the height of despair at being robbed of his birthright. Say that he'd killed his brother, not until their father died. Did he mean it? How many have not said they'd kill someone or wish them dead or harm at some point in their lives? Jacob has deceived and schemed and been motivated by fear from when we first met him. He purposely demanded his brother's birthright, stole his blessing, lied to his father, who he feared would see through the deception, and then feared his brother for what he did. No wonder he fled. But has he changed? This week you're going to see him continue in this vein. And again, there's certain things that many will say, hey, this doesn't seem right, this seems out of order. And it is. But remember, this may be history, but as we've seen, it's not a chronological history. Now, Jacob spent a precious amount of time in servitude to his uncle, building great wealth, and now stealthily fleeing. He's on the road, leaving with that great wealth, heading home, and he snuck away. Now, this week, a lot occurs. The great reunion takes place between the brothers, and the famous wrestling match with the angel occurs. We read a piece known as the rape of his only daughter Dinah, which seems much more like a misunderstood love story with a twisted ending. We see Jacob's last son Benjamin born. The love of his life Rachel dies in childbirth. We say goodbye to Isaac, the pastoral meditator whose life was planned and acted upon, different from the others. Genesis 32:4. And Jacob sent messengers ahead of him to Esau his brother, to the land of Seir, the territory of Edom. The messengers came back to Jacob saying, we came to your brother, to Esau. He's coming to you. 400 men with him. How do you think that news that his brother was coming went over? The brother he cheated, stole from, who only sought the love of his family, was coming with 400 men. Genesis 32:8. Jacob was very afraid. He had anguish. And he divided the people who were with him, the sheep and the oxen and the camels, into two camps. And he said, if Esau will come to one camp and strike it, then the camp that is left will survive. Save me from my brother's hand, from Esau's hand, because I fear him. So he sends an offering ahead to try and appease his brother. And he split his goods, just in case. But then he splits them very deliberately, just like everything else he has done. He is very deliberate in all of his actions. As we saw with the birthright and his father's deception, just in case. And notice he splits things in the order in which he is prepared to sacrifice what he's accumulated, including children and wives, because he splits them and he splits them again, so he ends up with 4 different camps. He wants to buy off his brother's anticipated anger and hatred, because who wouldn't feel that way after what Jacob had done? But things aren't always what they seem. Genesis 32:23. And he got up in the night. He took his 2 wives and his 2 maids and his 11 boys, and he crossed the Jabbok ford. There's only 11 boys. Benjamin has not yet been born. And you will notice his daughter, Dinah, is not mentioned. Is this about the value of the female or the importance of his daughter? And Jacob was left by himself, and a man wrestled with him until the dawn's rising. Now, usually referred to as Jacob wrestling an angel. We really don't know. The prophet Hosea refers to this moment and says he fought with God and he fought with an angel, and he was able. Now, just like no one knows who Azazel is in the Yom Kippur scapegoat sacrifice, no one is actually sure who or what Jacob fought. But they fight to a draw. The sun's rising. Genesis 32:27. And he said, let me go, because the dawn has risen. And he said, I won't let you go unless you bless me. Now, because of this reference to dawn and light, some suggest it was just a night spirit he fought with. Jacob demands a blessing to let the other person go. always the constant bargainer. And he said to him, "What's your name?" He said, "Jacob." And he said, "No, your name won't be Jacob anymore, but Israel, because you've struggled with God and with people and were able." Now, Israel means struggled with God. Who of us has not struggled with God? Who hasn't questioned the existence of divinity, especially in this world today? Now, biblical name changes are life-altering changes. Abram's name was changed to Abraham, and it was permanent. Sarai became Sarah forever. And much later, Hadassah becomes Esther. That too was permanent. But you will notice the Bible will continue to shift between Jacob and Israel on an ongoing basis. Why? Why not a permanent name change? You know what? Share your thoughts. You might even notice when he is Jacob and when he is Israel, and what that suggests about his personality. Jacob lets him go. Genesis 33:1. And Jacob raised his eyes and looked. Here was Esau coming, 400 men with him. And he divided the children among Leah and Rachel and the two maids. And he placed the maids and their children first, and Leah and her children following, and Rachel and Joseph following. Now don't forget, the maids weren't maids, they were also wives. But you see, he puts them in the order in which he's prepared to sacrifice them, to lose them. And he puts Joseph and Rachel last, the most important to him. It makes you wonder, what kind of message is he giving to the others? And he did all of this out of fear. Now perhaps we let our fear dictate. When we do, we project what we would do if it were reversed. But then a very strange thing happened. Genesis 33:4. Esau ran to him, embraced him, and fell on his neck and kissed him, and they wept. Esau wept. Jacob did not. Esau did not hate his brother. He loved him. He'd forgiven his brother for stealing his birthright, the blessing, and even the love of his mother. He is the first great example of the power of the forgiveness ritual. He developed the trait we should all be emulating. This is the great teaching opportunity that has been neglected. Learn to forgive. It brings acceptance. It brings peace. He just wanted to be there, to be his brother and to be his friend. When you're down, in trouble, and you need a helping hand, and nothing is going right. Close your eyes and think of me. Soon I will be there to brighten up even the darkest night. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. And that's what this brother would do. He would come to be with him again. Esau would always be there if Jacob needed him. But Jacob's fear dictated all the steps he would take if it were him pursuing a hated enemy and not a friend. And Esau wants to travel with his brother, be with his brother, embrace his brother. But Jacob begs off, saying he will slow them down because of his kids. More deception. And he says, I'll meet him. I'll meet you back in Seir. And Esau offered to leave men with Jacob. Jacob doesn't want any of Esau's men with him. His fear is so inculcated that it drives him. It drives him completely. Jacob has just told Esau he will meet him back at Seir. But in fact, the next two verses report Esau goes back to Seir. But Jacob goes in the complete opposite direction and heads off to Sukkot. He is always fearful, always scheming. Now our sages tell us Esau was pure evil, but none of the actual written accounts support that position. In fact, it seems just the opposite, but we have created this bipolar world of opposites for us to exist in. love, hate, peace, war, weakness, strength. But the world is not opposite. There's a great spectrum in which we live, which lies in between. And Jacob came in peace to the town of Shechem, and he and his family are welcome there. Now the son of the king, also named Shechem, falls in love with Jacob's daughter. And here the only daughter he ever had will die in what has falsely been called the rape of Dinah. It's an amazing tale, not of violence and anger, but one of love, with a sad twist at the end. I thought love was more or less a given thing. Seems the more I gave, the less I got. What's the use in trying? All you get is pain. When I needed sunshine, I got rain. Then I saw her face. Now I'm a believer, not a trace of doubt in my mind. I'm in love. I'm a believer. I couldn't leave her if I tried. Shechem loved her. That's all we read about. He didn't kill her. But two of Jacob's sons decide to take revenge on the whole town for the death of their sister. And they do. It's quite an interesting retribution. And what's Jacob's reaction? It's to deride them, for now he will have to leave again. Poor, poor, pitiful him. He is the ultimate victim, not one word about his daughter. There are defining moments in all of our lives. And Jacob's defining moments stem from defining questions. He asks his mother, what if he were caught in the deception of his father? And she assuages him. He is asked by his father that soul-revealing question, who are you? A question most of us have trouble answering. And he will be asked by the angel, what's your name? Not Jacob, a twister, grabber, grifter, but Israel, one who struggles with God. And friends, who does not struggle with God? And unlike other biblical name changes, he's continued to be called by both names. There's something about that. And he asked the angel what his name is, but he's never given an answer. Yes, my friends, the world is sacred, so is everything in it. Express your gratitude, light a candle, make a wish. Celebrate your life and the lives of those you love. Share your feelings with them. Live free, be free, honor your freedom, be well, be happy, be blessed. Share and honor the light and all who live in the light and continue to shine. Continue to send everyone you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone, and end to terror and hatred. Remember, we're a community. We learn together, we celebrate with each other, we love each other. We share this right together, men and women equally. So let's all send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, goodwill, healing to all who need it. Please do. Learn to forgive, learn to love. Open your hearts. Honor the relationships of your life. Tell those you love that you love them. Examine your intentions. Use them to print your will on the universe. We set in motion all that happens in our lives. It's our intention. Our cause, our effect, our capital. It's all linked. You always have time to forgive and to be forgiven. You have the knowledge of what's good and bad. So acknowledge what you have done wrong to yourself, to God, and to any person you've wronged. Ask forgiveness. But do so with sincerity, accountability, and vulnerability. Forgive those who've hurt you, as you learn to be forgiving and compassionate. Because the secret of forgiveness, compassion, and peace is in acceptance. Can you accept yourself, other people, the world just as they are? Can you accept life as it is without trying to control it? If you do, you can experience the peace that acceptance brings. So keep on dreaming, my friends. Keep on being, keep sharing, keep shining. Keep teaching. Keep spreading joy and goodwill. Do not follow fear, follow love, because it's always in front of you. Work to be present in the body. Expand your heart and quiet your mind, because the deepest source of real power lies in consciousness, in your ability to be mindful, to be aware, to be present in all of life's circumstances. That's all that means. Love with the heart. Because we're all part of a greater whole. Embrace love, not fear, forgiveness, not anger. and be there for someone, because someone will always be there for you, whether you know it or not. And usually we don't know it. Continue to explore faith. Never accept shame as a natural state, because whatever you feel, others have felt. Whatever you've experienced, others have too. We share together, we learn together, we help each other, because we are, each of us, trying to find love and acceptance and support. We all have or could have that special someone in our lives, so find them. Tell them what they mean, because you're never alone on your journey. Keep forgiving those you need to forgive, and keep asking forgiveness from those you need to ask forgiveness of. Listen to the voice of God as God talks to you. And remember your connection to God and all He has created. It's a part of you, it's a part of me, it's a part of body and soul, it's a part of everything. All of us forever. Listen to His voice. God is always talking to you. And notice the role of forgiveness. Esau forgave Jacob. Their father dies and they come together to bury him. As we saw a generation earlier when Isaac and Ishmael came together to bury Abraham. I wasn't there that morning when my father passed away. I didn't get to tell him all the things I had to say. I think I caught his spirit later that same year. I'm sure I heard his echo in my baby's newborn tears. I just wish I could have told him in the living years. Say it loud. Say it clear. You can listen as well as you hear. It's too late when we die to admit we don't see eye to eye, and we don't always see eye to eye. Never let it be too late, my friends. Thank you for joining me. Have a great week. Get ready for the Joseph Chronicles. And I'll see you all soon. Shabbat Shalom and blessings to you all. Take care. Bye.